A quick video on the Yamaha R9. We're going to be pulling out the ECU to send it off to get it flashed. First thing we'll want to do is take off the seat. We're going to want to get to this area here. We're going to grab our trim tool. I guess the thumb is good enough. Yeah, sweet. We're going to want to take these bolts off 2 5s. All right, next thing we do once we have the seat off, let's remove the bolt up here. Another 5 mil. And to get to the tank bolts here, and we'll have to loosen up back here as well, or lift this up one way or another. I'm going to show you a way to do it without removing the belly pan, side fairing, and all of this here. So you're going to want to remove this trim here, 4 millimeter. We're going to loosen this up to give us clear access to the bolt that's holding it here, right? So right in front of us, the 4 mil. And let me get my impact ready. Back, zap that off. Put that with our bolts here. We'll want to take this one off. So this one's a lot longer. The one here, short. And we'll want to this just slides right out. Nothing crazy. We'll want to, let's pull the steering, the bars. We'll want to pull this trim up. And there's one more 4 here. There's no, there you go, you can see it. This is a similar length to the one we just pulled. It has a washer in there as well, don't lose that. And this has, you see that little tab right there? You just gotta lift it up and pull this whole thing. Be gentle, but we'll pull it back. All right, and that frees up enough space for us to go in there and get to that bolt. I'm gonna wiggle this around a little more. Yeah, there we go. It didn't fully lift off of this, but now look how much more space we have without having to remove all the fairings here. So this one is also 4 millimeters. I'm gonna take it off without the camera. I don't have any good way to hold this up right now, but you get the idea. Loosen that off and then we'll start pulling this thing apart. It comes right out. Again, different than the other ones, so easy to pick out there. The face of it is different. All right. We're able to lightly lift up the tank, but we have these 2 last bolts holding it in here, limiting it from tilting up. We'll go ahead and pull those out. Those are going to be 4 millimeters as well. Got a pretty full tank here. I'm not going to pull this all the way off. I'm pretty sure I can get away with leaving this on here without pulling the fuel lines. We have the ECU right here in front of us, 4 fill-ups. So I got started with removing the Phillips heads. Small screwdriver. The bolts aren't anything crazy. You got the little bracket holding on the ECU here. I figured that might give me more space once I pull out the ECU to be able to clearly see the type of connectors that are there, so we could pull them off a little better. When time comes for that, right on top of the airbox. All right, so we got the bolts and bracket out for that. That's a really thin, small ECU. Now, I'm glad I did this because the bolts are all, the connectors are all on the bottom there. We can clearly see them. We can pull it out and pull this here, and we don't even need to pull the tank off like you see in other videos. So we got around a ton of work here. Saved a bunch of time. These are going to be simple. You're pressing the clip here on the bottom and pulling the connector off. I'm going to do that with 2 hands. Make it a little easier. Here's the first one. I'm starting to tip over the fuel tank there with me working around one hand, but comes off very easily. All right, this last one's got a little more to it than the simple clip like we've seen on the other ones. This one, I'm gonna try to get it all on video, but without dropping the tank. You got the push pin here, and then this piece drops. All right, so push, you see it drop a little bit, and boom. They really made it easy. Outside of, pulling apart the tank, but I was able to get it done with one hand. All right, so that wraps it up for pulling apart the ECU. I didn't have to pull any fuel lines, anything like that. I am gonna start to put the bike back together in a comfortable fashion. This way it could sit stored without scratching anything up. But I'll leave all the bolts in a Ziploc bag for the meantime here. One thing I noticed when you're pulling and putting the tank back on, you could see this fuel line has a little slot for it here. We want to make sure when you button everything up that it's sitting comfortably on that and you don't have anything cramping, whatever. Pinching, that's the word I'm looking for, pinching one another. So I'm gonna put the fuel tank back snug. Yeah, you can see you got it sitting on top of the fairings a little bit here. Wanna make sure this is pulled out so it can rest on the frame. Push that back in temporarily. I don't remember if I mentioned this or not, but everything I did on that one side for the video, same exact on this side. Nothing different. So we'll push this. Something's binding here. I'll make sure all of that lines up. This side's a little tougher to push for whatever reason. There we go. Push this back in. On this side, I didn't end up pulling that bolt. It made no difference since this piece is already attached here. So it was a little efficient on the other side, the second side there. I'm gonna put the seat, everything back on, just a little snug. Obviously the bike's not gonna be ridden. It's going into the garage until we get the ECU. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe for more Yamaha R9 content. We just put on the Acura exhaust. We're gonna do track bike related stuff, so rear sets, clip-ons, the ABS delete, armor bodies, fairings, all of that stuff, the fuel tank, the fuel cap, windscreen, all the little stuff that you see on track bikes, chains, sprockets, stuff like that. Tune in and we'll be posting soon.